Okay guys, so this is going to be a raw video. While I know I have a lot of subscribers, this video in particular is going to be for my boy Mike. He is all the way from Arkansas to New York in studio recording an album at the moment, and has a Limo drop, which I recommended him get. And he's having some trouble with his resistance jumping all over the place, so I'm going to make the best attempt I can to help him out. This is with the bottom cap off, and as you can see, there's a main stud in the center. Well, that thing can actually come loose. Around that main stud is your airflow adjustment nut. We're not going to look at the airflow adjustment nut in this particular video because it's not relevant. I always just make sure it's wide open. Of course, everybody knows that probably, but this right here, the very center piece has a slot in it, so it's like the main stud. You can see the slot hopefully pretty good. So I'm going to hook up my screwdriver to that and make sure that that is nice and snug. So I'm going to turn it clockwise. Okay, this one in particular is nice and snug. Then you can see in the bottom cap there's a raised piece in the middle too. Those need to make good contact. Okay, so when I screw this in, I want to feel a little bit of resistance toward the end. That way I know that that's making good contact, and it is. Now I can turn it tighter and it's making a better contact. So the other form of contact is going to be right here, your center pin on the bottom of the main cap. You can unscrew it and it will come out, and then you can screw it down tight. Generally this thing actually spins so freely that you can leave it out and then tighten it up, and it will start to tighten itself back in so that you can make sure that this thing is flush with the top of your mod. Okay, especially if you have a spring-loaded pin. All of that spring is going to bottom out, sure, but it will turn this. But you can get it close if you want to. Make that center pin just protrude just a little bit, and it should make contact. However, sometimes the outer threads, the 510 threads, are not long enough, so I would just leave it unscrewed quite a ways, you know, and sticking out. Hopefully you can get a decent view of that piece there sticking out. That's your center pin for your tank. Doesn't matter where that's at, so long as it's connected to metal, it's going to make contact, and it will screw itself in when you tighten it down to your mod. So you'll get the right depth and you'll have this nice and flush on there so it won't wobble. Okay, if all else fails with that, you're going to want to take this loose, and my coil's probably nasty as can be on here because it's been sitting for a while, and that's probably why. Well, it's not nasty. Alright, good. So the next thing to look for is to make sure that your coil of wire is not touching any metal there, and then also you have your two screws where your coil makes contact. You can see that screw, actually you can see both of them pretty good. So you're going to want to make sure, sorry I'm doing this backwards, you're going to want to make sure that both of those two little Phillips headed screws are nice and snug on the wire so that the wire is trapped on there and it's not loose. It's not going to cause any shorts that way too. And that's pretty much it. This being the worst of it, I would go with the other stuff first. That way you don't end up with having to remove your juice when it's just something that has to do with the one or two connections here at the bottom that you can deal with without having to remove the tank. So hopefully that helps, Mike. Alright man, we'll see you when you get back. Rock on.